If you've been feeling a change in the air lately, maybe a growing coldness in how people interact, I want to start by saying that what you're sensing is real. And today, we're going to look at it together, not with judgment, but with some real understanding. This whole conversation really kicked off with a question that I've seen pop up again and again online. And it goes like this, word for word. Am I the only one who thinks that in the last 2 to 3 years, people have become meaner, more envious, more closed in on themselves, withdrawn, and not so human? What observations do you have? Maybe I'm wrong.
So let me just answer that question right here, right now. No, you are absolutely not the only one, and no, you are not wrong.
What you're feeling, it isn't just in your head. It's a widespread emotional shift, a collective experience that so many people are feeling but are kind of struggling to name. That question, it really just gives it a voice, doesn't it? And listen, the fact that you even notice this change, that it affects you, well, that's not a weakness. It's a sign that your empathy is still online, that it's working exactly as it should. It's proof of your humanity. Now, there are some very concrete reasons for this shift, so let's unpack them. Okay, so where do we start? Let's begin with the pressures that are right in front of us. Why does it feel like the very fabric of our connections is fraying? Well, the answers are woven right into our daily lives. For years now, we have all been running on empty. It's been this relentless mix of a global pandemic, wars, inflation, and just this deep uncertainty about what's next. It's depleted our collective emotional resources. And when anyone is stuck in that kind of survival mode, their capacity for empathy, it just shrinks. It has to. And I need to stress this, that's not a moral failure. It's just a basic psychological function when you feel like you've got nothing left to give. And on top of all that, we're surrounded by this digital world of perfect storefronts. Social media just floods our feeds with these curated, perfect images of success and happiness, and that just fuels this quiet, gnawing envy. This environment doesn't really encourage open, honest conversation. Instead, it kind of fosters passive aggression and cynical comments, replacing real connection with performance. A lot of what we perceive as coldness in other people is actually a shield. Many people have withdrawn not because they're mean, but because they're in pain, from past disappointments, from betrayed trust, or maybe from the sheer exhaustion of always being the open-hearted one. It's just less risky to wear a mask of indifference than to show the world you're vulnerable. And finally, our conversations have just become incredibly polarized. Complex issues get flattened into a simple, you're either with us or you're against us. And when we lose all that gray area, all that nuance, we lose the space for real dialogue, for understanding each other. The only thing left in that space is tension. So, okay, those external pressures are pretty clear. But to really get why we react this way, we've got to go deeper into the ancient wiring of the human brain and its primal responses to feeling threatened. You see, our brains are equipped with some very powerful, very ancient programming designed for one main purpose: survival. And right now, all the alarms in that old system are being set off by the pressures of modern life. From an evolutionary perspective, our brains basically have two fundamental modes. There's connection mode, which is all about cooperation, trust, and empathy, and then there's survival mode, which is about defense, suspicion, and self-preservation. The chronic stress of the last few years has pushed our entire society deep into that second mode. And a key feature of this survival brain is something called zero-sum thinking. It's an old tribal instinct that kicks in when resources feel scarce. It's this deep-seated, often unconscious belief that for me to gain something, you have to lose something. So when our brain is in this state, a stranger can register as a threat. A coworker's success can feel like a personal failure. And it's so crucial to understand this, that envy, that suspicion, it's not a character flaw. It's an ancient alarm bell hardwired into us to warn us that we might be falling behind the tribe, that our own safety is at risk. This brings us to a really critical point. Empathy is evolutionarily expensive. It takes energy, mental resources, and a baseline of safety to really extend ourselves to others. So when the brain senses danger, when it feels unsafe, one of the first things it cuts from its budget is empathy. The world feels less human, not because people have become evil, but because they're afraid. Now, I know all of this can sound pretty bleak, but here's where we find a profound source of hope. It begins by reframing the very sensitivity that makes you feel this disconnect so painfully in the first place. If this societal coldness hurts you deeply, it's likely because your brain is literally tuned for connection, not for conflict. People with higher sensitivity, more active empathy systems, and a lower tolerance for moral compromises, they feel this disconnect most acutely. Your brain is wired for the world we all want to create, one of warmth and cooperation.
It's also so important to take the long view. History shows us that these periods of social fragmentation, they don't last forever. They're cyclical. Eras of great fear and disconnection are almost always followed by periods of profound reconnection, where communities rebuild their bonds, often stronger than before.
And this leaves us with a final, powerful idea to hold on to. The people who manage to hold on to their humanity, their empathy, their compassion through times like these, they aren't just surviving. They are actively preserving the seeds of what comes next. They become the nucleus around which a new, more connected social order can form. So your sensitivity, it isn't a burden, it is the blueprint for a better world.